Evening, I'm Heather Armstrong.
And I'm Dustin Lukey. Before flooding breaks its way into area homes, emergency managers try to come up with new mitigation tactics.
Now, every 10 years, planners from Minnesota and Wisconsin meet to bounce ideas off one another at the Flooding Knows No Borders conference.
News 19's Marcus Arsvold explains what the group hopes to learn by talking now.
The driftless region's beauty surrounded by water isn't always a good thing. Sometimes it's even disastrous.
Because in the last 10 years, we've had a dozen declarations, which is just crazy. That's more than one per year.
Wisconsin Emergency Management Officer Gwen Drews responds to flood emergencies, studies their impact, and she's just one of the 36 guest speakers at the Floodplain conference sharing what they've learned.
These are the best of the best when it comes to floodplain issues. They identify large river risk, and in the same conversation, you're going to identify smaller river risk, flash, flooding type issues.
One dry year makes it look like a stream is chilling out, but it's not. That's the thing. These events continue to happen and they continue to be more intense.
Even though it's fall and we're almost headed into winter, her research on the La Crosse River shows that how it looks now could really impact what flooding will look like in the spring.
I mean, if we have a winter where we don't necessarily get a lot of snowfall, that means when it melts, it won't necessarily cause a lot of groundwater issues or runoff issues. That way the ground can actually absorb the water rather than having some kind of runoff.
But with the number of rivers in our area, it's too soon to predict exactly who might see the most damage.
One river shows that there's clearly an increase in peak discharge, and another river shows that it's slowly decreasing over the life of the gauge. So it can change from year to year.
She says by 2030, she'll have a better idea of how to predict exactly where flooding is going to happen earlier in La Crosse. Marcus Arsvold, News 19.
Gwen says there are mitigation efforts that people who live in high-risk areas can take ahead of time.
Individuals and communities can apply for property acquisition buyouts, floodproofing, and elevation grants.
Now, you can find this story on our website, WXOW.com, to learn how to do this, and also keep in mind the time to do so is limited.